Hey y'all, it's me again. I know that I haven't been posting on YouTube as of late. Been pretty busy, been dealing with mental health issues, been dealing with, a lot of other stuff in real life too. And being disabled is kind of a pain in the ass. So, I do want to make something on here clear. I will be doing, may not be frequent. I'm not gonna say frequently or commonly or whatever, but I may decide to do videos on here. Not frequently, not a lot. I don't know necessarily how many times I will do so or whatever, but as I continue, I will explain a little bit more on what I mean by that. But at the moment, I do want to do a little bit of a slight update to explain, where I'm gonna be headed, at least within this channel. If I decide to do anything with that, then awesome. If not, then I don't. So don't take this as, as common currency, I guess you could say. Whatever the fucking word is there. Don't take this without a grain of salt or two or multiple. But I may decide on here to do more content, at least on here, pertaining towards some of the things that I am very passionate about, that I personally would like to do. It may take a while before I start doing those things. It may be a while before I'm completely, how do I put it, completely emotionally ready to do certain things. Well, I may be immediately jumping into the deep end by doing others. However, I do want to make something clear on this channel. This channel is system positive. It doesn't matter what type of system you are. I believe that you're valid. And I believe, all systems are valid. It doesn't matter what type of system you are. You're a system. End of story. You're multiple. You're plural, whatever you prefer to call yourself, or yourselves, or whatever. We are also a system. We are plural, multiple. We call ourselves pretty much everything in the book on that end. We call ourselves a system. We call ourselves plural. We call ourselves a multiple. We call ourselves we and I. And yeah, it's on our end. It's just that. We believe that we could potentially be an undiagnosed medical system, but we are not certain for that fact. And I'm not going to go into that. I'd much rather not. Personal reasons on my end. Secondly, it's just not something that I really want to get into. And then on top of that, we are also, personally, I know that, a lot of people on different sides of the plural spectrum either don't or won't either be open to understanding what I'm about to say, but we are endogenic supportive. We are an endogenic system ourselves. We are endogenic spiritual, meaning that we come from an endogenic standpoint in the physical world. Spiritually, we are actually a system, like full on system. It's a bit more complicated spiritually, but we are a very spiritual person, entity, beings, I should more say, accurately. Yeah. I may decide to let the others come forward occasionally, but I'm gonna try to keep the littles from forwarding because I'd much rather them not have to go through that because they're like children. They are children. That's what they are. Um, so yeah. But I personally am going to also, as I said, gonna do a lot more towards what personally me as both the host and just in general an entity um is super oh, I'm trying to remember the word. Excuse me, my brain does that sometimes. Well, our brain does that sometimes where we'll just forget words sometimes. But passionate. Well, we're super passionate about on this channel. Whether it be songwriting, writing in general, story wise, singing, and some we may just let if we do a video of us singing and by chance we happen to be dancing or doing some sort of stemming, we're gonna leave that into the video, but if we're not, then that's fine. But dancing's kind of like an iffy. If it happens, it happens, but we're not gonna be doing that specifically. But witchcraft, and advocacy for many different places, both current, well, not both, many different places, especially one that alongside, Ukraine and Sudan and all of these other places, we are super passionate about. And if you don't, support this person, then, I'm gonna be straight up with you. Don't be on my page. Don't be on my YouTube profile, whatever the fuck, you know. Don't be, don't. Just don't interact with us because we support Palestine. We are a huge supporter of them and the Palestinian people, and we support those who are in need and those who are getting hurt. This genocide, this horrible, horrible genocide that's been happening, this ethnic cleansing that these people have been doing for a long time now. It's horrible. It should not be happening. And honestly, I'm surprised that my country, the people who are in charge of said country, have agreed with these genocide causers, these oppressors, to outright just cause as much destruction as possible and cause as much war. And I know I'm not the only one. I know that there are people who are like myself who are trying to do what they can to try to boycott companies that are supporting this disgusting genocide. That, they're trying their best to, get people who are higher up to listen to them, to help. And at this point, it's not just where I'm from that's, doing horrible shit. Like, there are so many countries that are also siding with the oppressors. And I'm not calling the innocent people who are of this oppressive country, the oppressors. I'm calling the people who are actively oppressing the innocent people of Palestine. and the people outside of Palestine as well, um, the oppressors. I'm not calling the people who are actively calling for ceasefire within said country um, the oppressors by any means, because I understand that as much as it is complicated, it is also simple enough to be understanding of Palestine did nothing wrong, and what people claim was the start of it was not the start of it. What people claim was, I'm trying to think, apologies. What people claim was the start of this war, what the genocide basically is not. It had been going on for like over 70 plus years. So this genocide has been happening a lot longer than what we in this generation know of. There are generations who have had to go through these poor people who are having to go through either this genocide, these genocides over and over again, where some end up losing their lives too soon. And I personally know of children losing their lives, innocent women and men losing their lives. These people do not have a military. They do not have any sort of forces on the Navy. They don't have anything to fight back with, and what they are using to fight back with is what they are basically getting hurt by the oppressors that are doing the oppressing, basically. They are having to reuse what they are doing. They are sending their way to cause harm to them. And it's something that I'm deeply passionate about. I've been deeply passionate about for a while now. I'm very passionate about this kind of advocacy and trying to stand up and say, no, this isn't right, trying to stand up and say and do something, but I've personally never been able to do that completely because of the fact that I myself have disabilities. I have autism, I have ADHD, I have all of these other stuff that is physically or mentally keeping me from being able to go out and protest on the streets or going out and trying to help. I don't have physical funds that I can send to go help them. All I can do is try to talk about it, try to send resources, try to get people to understand what is really happening from my point of view, and trying to boost and trying to be the megaphone almost of these people, of these oppressed people that are getting hurt, that are getting murdered, and are being racially cleansed, or being genocided against. It's just, this is something that I've been super passionate about for a long time. I mean, hell, my mom knows about this. The only reason I never really either talked to people about it is because, oh, it's political, and or it's too much or something like that. And I'm always really afraid to kind of sit there and say, this is what's going on, sharing this information with people, trying to make them understand what's going on. And I'm scared because when I do that, either I get, angry, yelled at people coming at me and, hating on me for being who I am, saying what I'm saying, doing what I'm doing. But also I am afraid that, I'm gonna lose friends that I've known for years. people who I've cared about for years. And the reason why I'm so scared of that is because losing people I care and trusted the most is like the worst feeling I could ever imagine. I mean, hell, losing a person without even having to lose them from, that kind of standpoint in general is also pretty hard. So it's just more along the lines of when I'm talking about this, when I am trying to be the megaphone for these people who are trying to stand up and say enough is enough, call ceasefire, make sure that these people who are doing these horrible things get, are given their, consequences. Because this is enough. This is horrible. None of this should be happening. It's not human. It's inhuman. It's cruel. It's disturbing. And I understand that likelihood that if someone outside of the few people who are subscribed happens upon this video, I'm fairly certain that, I know there are going to be a good few people who are either going to comment and say, oh, well, you're, misinformed, blah, 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 or, be extremely super xenophobic towards these people, or call me, you know, hating on the Jewish people, which I'm not by any means. I would never do such thing, because I understand they also went through what is happening, and even they are supporting the Palestinians. They want a ceasefire. They are calling for ceasefire as well. So it's not just me. And personally, I think that, something like this, it's a big deal. I don't care if someone, sits there and says, oh, you're misinformed, blah, blah, blah. Because I know genuinely the truth. But the sad thing is that I know that people are either gonna come on here and argue, a topic or something like that, just for argument's sake. I also know that there are people in this world who are just hateful, spiteful individuals for whatever reason. But I also know that there are sad people who want to hurt other people because they've been hurt. And I'm not going to sit there and say that everyone who comes on here and is being a bully is a bully because, they're evil people. Some people just may come on here because, they have nothing better to do, etc. But, know that I'm also a very huge mental health advocate. I mean, hell, I suffer from mental health myself. And it's something that, a lot of people don't seem to really take either seriously, or if they do, then they, think that it's easily dismissed, which is not. Because I can tell you from personal, you know, things on my end that mental health is a huge issue. Not just with myself, but with many other people. If you took, and to, make a point here with that, if you took a grain of rice, a black grain of rice, and put it into a pile of, like a pile of white rice, or like a handful of white rice, one out of that handful of rice, that is how many people suffer from mental health. And the likelihood that you'll find more than just one of those, black pieces of rice is more than, enough. I mean, hell, even with people who are of the typical they're not completely typical. They still suffer from some form of mental health in some form or way. And I'm a very big advocate of, if you feel comfortable with, talking to someone, do it. Reach out for help. It's okay. You have people around you who care, and if you don't, then find someone. Understand that you have people out there that will care, that will want to help you. So it's a very big deal, especially to me, because I've been there. I've been to the lowest of lows, to the darkest of places, and I'm still going through a dark point in my life. For fuck's sake, I'm 20 and I've been suffering for years from mental health issues. We've all of us have been mentally. And, it's just something that it wasn't really common back when, I was younger. But now that we're older, it is thankfully getting more common, more understood. And hopefully, we're still in that kind of infancy kind of stage when it comes to mental health as well. So there's a lot to be learned, a lot more to be, understood. So we're still understanding mental health issues. We're still understanding, treatment ways to help certain mental health points, ways to treat, symptoms of other bigger, broader issues, things like that. So it's just like, don't don't try to hurt someone who, is trying to be hurtful. Don't stoop to their level, because ultimately that only makes them feel better about what they're doing. Because, it's sad, but a lot of people do it just to either gain attention, because either A, they don't have it, B, they didn't get it when they were a kid, or C, they are a kid and they just don't have it at home. That kind of thing. You never know, who may be on here, who, or what they plan on doing, etc. So that's kind of where, if you are here to actually, watch, and you actually are interested in watching our content, and you're here supporting us, and you see a comment and you want to go and argue, don't. Just ignore it. That's something that, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but trust me, it's better if you ignore them. Hell, I'll find a way to, if it's, comments, trying to support the actions of the genocide, then I'll delete it. Or find a way to delete it. If it's just someone being a troll, then again, I'll find a way to delete it. That kind of thing. So don't engage. Would be the best way of action. I know it's hard to not go and defend someone who either you care about or you you kind of connect with or whatever, but just don't. It's better if you don't. Sad thing is, I have learned this the hard way, and, I'm not fully there yet, obviously, but, eventually I will get there, and I hope to be there eventually. So, I'm not perfect, no one is. I don't expect perfection from anyone but myself. That's what I even tell my mom. I tell my dad that. I tell pretty much anyone that. So, I don't expect perfection but myself. And even when it comes to these videos, I don't have a script, but when it comes to, these videos, I talk. Because it's kind of just something that I want to do. I would like to talk more like this. I don't rarely be able to do this. When I do, it's, I'm either told to shut up, or I feel guilty about it because, I'm talking someone's ear off. So, yeah. But anyways, getting out of that little rant there. But as I said, I'm gonna be doing a bit more. Depends on if I, take it as a grain of salt, because I can't really promise this, but I hope to be doing more content like that. I hope to be more, more or less, talkative on here the best I can, or if one of the others wants to come through and talk on here, that kind of thing. But, it is what it is. I'm not gonna say that, YouTube isn't good, because it isn't. It's kind of meh, but it's a good place to kind of go to get your voice out the best you can. By no means is it perfect. By no means do I support any of the nonsense I have done, but nonetheless, I believe that, if you're on here for one reason or another, you're on here for a reason. Now, if you choose to leave, that is up to you. I mean, no one can stop you. You're the one in charge of your career. You're in charge of your little side hobbies, whatever, but yeah. So, anyways, I love all of y'all, and I do hope y'all have a wonderful time zone. And to all of the Muslims out there, happy Eid. And to those who don't celebrate, happy whatever day it is for you. So yeah. Peace, and yeah. I'll see y'all at some point later on in the line. Bye.